welcome to Amethyst Star Crafting. My name is Jane Allmark and I'm a UK independent Stampin' Up demonstrator. And today we're looking at Snowfront again. This is an absolutely lovely stamp set which is available the 4th of September. It's in the new autumn winter catalogue. So if you are in France, Germany, Austria, the Netherlands, Belgium, I think I've covered them all. You can buy any of the products from myself over on my store. This one is, as I say, in the autumn winter catalogue, which is available from the 4th of September. It will be available online, so you'll be able to just like log in and see all of the things from the 4th of September. If you want a hard copy of the catalogue, so a full colour brochure to be sent out, then just drop me a line. There will be links below and I'll be happy to send one out to you. So Snowfront, it is a scene builder. You can build all sorts of scenes. Excuse me. I've done some lovely things with it so far. However, I wanted to do something which is very simple and easy, but again had a big impact. So we're going to start with just a normal card blank, and we are going to put let's put a Christmassy sentiment on there. So I'm actually using, there's sentiments in quite a few of the stamp sets. So Playful Penguins has got Merriest Wishes. I think that that will work quite nicely. So we're just going to put that down at the bottom. So let me just pop this on a block. Make sure I've got it the right way up. It's another one of these lovely handwritten fonts. And we're going to do this in Cherry Cobbler because we're going to have a bit of a Cherry Cobbler feel to this one today. So I'm going to ink it up with Cherry Cobbler and I'm just going to put that down at the bottom. There we go. And we'll just have that about there. Okay. So I've done that to start off with because it helps if you're starting. It helps balance things so that they come out where you want them. Because quite often, if you put the sentiment in last, you find that you've got right down to the bottom and you go, oh, there's not enough room for that one. And then you're having to squish another sentiment in, which is smaller or it doesn't fit. If you put it in first, you've then got the position where you want it. So we've got the Merriest Wishes. Now we are going to just add a little bit of colour to our background. We're going to use our aqua painter, which I hope's got, it's got a tiny little bit of water in it, but that'll be fine. And we're going to use, let's use some, I think we'll use Pool Party. You can use any colour you want, but I think Pool Party will work quite nicely. We're going to just take a block and we're going to just pick up some of that colour onto the block. So we then have our little palette. And then we are just going to take some water from the aqua painter, says me, hoping I've just got enough in there. I might have to go and fill it up, but hopefully I'll just about have enough, says me, right down to the last. There we go. Okay, because we want this to be quite wet. We're doing it on standard cardstock, so you don't have the same sort of maneuverability as you do when you're doing something on watercolor paper, but it does work quite well. And all we're going to do is we are just going to do a wash. Okay, so you're just washing it down, picking up some colour as you go and just taking it down like that. Okay, it doesn't need to be overly precise. All you're doing is getting a bit of colour. I will clean that brush off afterwards and fill it up. Have I got some kitchen roll? I did have some somewhere. No, I'm going to use my Simply Chamois and just clean that off on there so I then don't have that. So while that's drying just for a second, we are going to take this image here, which is a large sort of wintry looking tree. And it's a nice size. We used to have a lovely stamp set, which was one of my favourites. I did an awful lot with it, called Sheltering Tree. And that one retired, along with quite a few other tree ones. However, we've got lots of lovely trees in this up-and-coming catalogue. So we're just going to mount it on a block, and we are going to do this in... do I want to do it in black, or do I want to do it in... I think I might do it in... let's do it in soft suede. It is a silhouette of a tree, but I think soft suede might look quite nice because that's fairly dark. So I'm going to ink this up in the soft suede. Okay, with big stamps, you can put ink to stamp, stamp to inks. It doesn't really matter. And then we are just going to put this in where we have stamped that watercolour bit. Now, hold it down a few moments. You need to let your the piece that you've watercoloured, so you need to let it dry a bit. I'm hoping I've left it dry enough. We shall find out in a minute when I take it off. Yes, we have. Beautiful. So we now have this rather nice tree with the blue background, which is rather pretty. So let me just clean this off. Now, the tree is a little bit in the air, so I'm going to put... We have a rather nice little stamp in this one, which is a grounding stamp. I love trees that are sort of floating about, but you do need just a little bit of grounding in here. So it's that one there. So we're going to take that one, and we're just going to put that onto a block, and we're going to use, we want this to be fairly subtle, so I'm going to use Smoky Slate. Smoky Slate is a really nice soft grey colour, and it's perfect when you want just a little bit of background without it being too overly dark. So I'm just going to stamp this up, or rather ink it up, and then we're just going to put that down at the bottom like that, and that just gives the tree a little bit of grounding. As I say, because it's the Smoky Slate, it's nice and subtle, and it doesn't detract from anything else. Okay, so now we are going to take the there's two little birds, teeny weeny little birds, one facing one direction, one facing the other. So I'm going to put them on. I think one of them is sort of a cardinal, but we don't have cardinals over in the UK, so it's any little sort of bird that you want. And we're going to use the cherry cobbler because we want it to team in with the cherry cobbler, because we've got the words with cherry cobbler, and we're just going to ink it up. It's very tiny weeny, so don't overly press, otherwise you'll get a little bit of a halo, but just make sure it's inked up nicely. And then we can just put it onto one of the little branches. So press it down, and you've got a rather pretty little bird there. I'm going to do a few of them, I think. So I think I'm going to have another one just up in here at the top of the tree. Okay, so we've got two in that direction. And then I'm going to take the other little bird, which is facing in the opposite direction, which is quite nice. So you can have them sort of facing each other, so it's not sort of all everything looking out in that direction. It's a little bit more balanced. And then we're just going to ink this one up, and I'm going to have one right on this little branch at the bottom like that. Do I think three's just right? 4, 5, 4, 5. I think three's perfect, actually. I'm going to leave 3. You can put more on if you want to, but I think 3 is absolutely perfect. So let's put that down there like that. And then if we take a piece of cherry cobbler cardstock and we put that on there, you have a beautiful, it's rather a large mount, it should be a little bit smaller, but you have a very pretty, very simple, very easy card. Now if you want to step it up just a little bit, very easy way to do, we have these lovely little, they are called snowflake sequins, and they are absolutely lovely, quite sort of teeny weeny, but I have to take the lid off carefully. They're brilliant for shaker cards, but they're also really good to just add just a little bit of something to them, and again they don't take too much. So let me get a little bit of wet glue. I need to get my take your pick tool, which of course is on the other side, but let me just grab it from, here we go, always on the other side of my desk. So take your pick tool is absolutely perfect for tiny weeny little things like that. So we're just going to put a few of them just sort of dotted about. So let's just put a little tiny blob of glue, that's probably a bit too much, and we'll have one there and we'll have one there, I think, in a bit, so it's not quite uniform. We'll start with 3 and see how we get on. So this the take your pick tool, absolutely brilliant. You've got a, it says me pulling the top off, you've got a little tiny bit of putty that sort of comes out. Now what I tend to do, as I've said, is you roll it round so that it makes a little ball, and then you can pick up the little sequins quite easily. I'm going to put this one down there and just pop it on, and I've got a couple that's stuck into the lid because they're quite staticky. So I have another one on here, and let's see, that looks quite a big one. It's going to be stuck with a bit of sequin. I just want the actual snowflake bits on this. So a little bit of glue, which is a little bit too big, but it will dry clear. And I'm just, whoops, to pop that on like that. And then we've got, they are quite twinkly, you've got 3 little snowflake sequins in on there, which, as I say, are quite pretty. So these are perfect for the shaker cards, but also they add just a little tiny bit of sparkle in on here. And as I say, you've got a very simple, very easy card, but will look lovely for a Christmas card. If you're doing lots of cards as well, they're great to just make a very simple, very easy card. So thank you so much for watching me. Do look forward to seeing you again. Bye bye.